Hey first grade, so yesterday you guys did a addition and subtraction checkpoint, and for the most part we did a pretty good job. I just noticed that quite a few of us need some practice with subtracting 5s and 10s. So I'm using that quiz that you guys took yesterday to kind of help with what we're going to be learning about this week. So we really hit some of those skills, and hopefully we get more comfortable with that by the end of the week. So we're going to do that through a fun activity about Hansel and Gretel and the trails around their house and these adventures that they go on. So for the next couple of days, we're going to have the same learning targets. The first one is I can use addition and subtraction strategies to find the sum. So that means we're not using strategies like counting on or counting back. Because we're nearing the end of first grade, we're really starting to use the strategies that you're going to need in second grade. So we're going to have practice with that. The second strategy is I can skip count by 5s and 10s. This is something that we've been doing all year in first grade, but we're really going to use that skill in this unit. Okay, so before we jump into the activity, I want to let you know that you're going to do 2 pages in your student book today, page 54 and 55. So at the end of the video, you're going to work on those 2 pages and send them back to me. Before we get into the worksheet part, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about who Hansel and Gretel are and what they did and why we're going to use those examples to help us learn. So Hansel and Gretel were 2 little kids who lived deep in the woods. And there wasn't a lot of things around them, but there were lots and lots of trails and paths. But the tricky thing was that there were so many trails and paths that it was really easy to get lost. So one day they decided it would be a really good idea if they took some objects and used them to mark the trails that they were on so that they could find their way back home. So one of the objects that they used were pebbles. So every step they would drop a pebble, so that when they turned back around, they could follow the pebbles back and make sure that they weren't lost and find their way back home. So today we're going to look at a couple of the trails that Hansel and Gretel went on, and we're going to use addition and subtraction strategies to help us figure out what step they are on. So let's start first by just counting these pebbles. So this is their first trail that they went on. They dropped 1, count with me, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pebbles. So on their first walk, they dropped 9 pebbles. Well, they kept walking and walking and walking, and eventually they dropped their 34th pebble. This pebble is number 34. So the pebble before isn't labeled, but we can use a subtraction strategy to help us figure out what number pebble that is. So if we have 34, we know that 1 less than 34 means 34 minus 1, and that equals 33. So we had 33, 34, keep counting with me, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, right? And then we had 1 more than 40. So 1 more than 40. 40 plus 1 equals 41. Then we had 1 more than 41, which is 42, which is the same as 41 plus 1. Then we had 43, 44, 45, and they kept walking and walking. And they walked a long ways. And then we came to this pebble. And there's a question here. What is the number of the first pebble shown? How do you know? Well, we can start looking for some clues. Like right here, this says that this is pebble number 93. So I can work my way back to figure out which pebble this is. I can use that counting back strategy, or I can use a subtraction equation, right? So I know that this pebble is going to be the 93rd pebble minus these which will give me my answer. Okay, so let's count how many we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have 93 minus 6 pebbles. 93 minus 6 is, I want you to calculate it in your head. I'm going to give you a couple seconds. 93 minus 6 is 87. So this pebble is the 87th pebble. And we can double check that by counting 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93. So we know we're good now. So then we keep walking, we keep walking, we keep walking, and we come across pebble 103. But the tree is blocking a pebble, and they want to know which pebble is behind this tree. How do you know? So if this pebble is 103, and we know there's one more pebble behind this tree, we can use an addition equation to help us figure that out. We can write 103 plus one more pebble gets us 104. So we know that the pebble behind the tree is 104. 103, 104, 105. Which pebble is the 100th one along the path? All right, so we have a couple numbers that'll help us out. We have pebble number 93 and we have pebble number 103. So we can work with either of these numbers to find the 100th pebble. I'm going to choose to work with 103. And if I know that I have 103, I'm going to be taking something away to get me to 100. This should look very simple for you because we have 100, 100, 0 tens, 0 tens. Our only difference is 3 ones. So we have 103 minus something gives us 100. So we're taking away 3 ones. 103 minus 3 equals 100. So if I count back, this is my 100th pebble. Okay? All right, crew, so I'm going to introduce your page. It looks a little bit different than the path, but it's the same kind of idea. So your job is to look at the pebbles along each part of the path and to fill in the missing numbers. So I'm going to do the first one with you. So we have pebble 22, pebble 23, blank, pebble 25. So we should know what number comes between 23 and 25, pebble 24. Then we have pebble 25, 26, blank. We know that 27 comes after 26. So your job is to fill in all of these missing pebbles on page 1 of 2. You're on page 54 in your book. And then flip over to page 55. And you're going to work on some challenges. I would like for you to pick at least one challenge. You do not have to do both. You can pick one challenge. If you want to super challenge yourself, you can do both. The more practice you get, the better, but I don't want you to get frustrated because I know it's tricky to do this outside of the classroom. So pick one challenge and work on that. It's going to be the same kind of thing where you have to fill in the missing numbers, but they're going to ask you some additional questions that you're going to have to work through. Okay, so your job, again, student book, page 54, fill in the missing numbers, and page 55, pick one challenge. If you want to do both, great. If you don't, that's okay too. Pick at least one, and remember your target, that you're using addition and subtraction strategies to find the sum. All right, crew, get those done, upload them to Dojo, and I'll give you some feedback. See you soon.